Many years ago, after a Maundy Thursday service, I gathered in the sacristy with all of those that helped put on the service. The altar guild, the acolytes, the readers, the Eucharistic ministers, the choir, the whole crowd. And I asked them if they'd ever thought about why we do the service the way we do it. Specifically focusing in on the washing piece. And everyone became very quiet. As a matter of fact, no one made eye contact with me, but they were making eye contact with one another, but not with me. Finally, a really lovely member of the choir spoke up. And she said that the washing was about purity. That it was about becoming clean to receive the Eucharist. And that's certainly a little piece of what happens in the gospel lesson from John. John has Jesus speak about being made clean. But it doesn't really stop there. Jesus goes on to tell them further what it was about. Do you know what I have done to you? He asks them. So I thought about our gathering. And I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed because I felt like maybe I wasn't doing my job as well as I should be doing my job. My heart kind of sank. And my fears were realized that as a community, we were going through one of the most involved liturgies of the Christian year, and we weren't all clear about what we were doing there. In some sense, that puts us in very good company. It's perfectly clear that the disciples didn't have a lock on clarity. The earliest followers of Jesus, every step of the way, demonstrated a lack of understanding about what Jesus was doing, the nature of his ministry, and what we enact this night. The disciples couldn't possibly have understood because they were in the eye of the storm. They were in the midst of the whirlwind. And we have the benefit of hindsight. We know that the disciples, with their master, were a band of fugitives, hiding in a room, hoping to avoid notice, where Jesus might give his disciples their final instructions, where he might give them the final wisdom, the final intimacy that he could offer them. They're lurking in the shadows, and they don't know what the future will hold for Jesus or for them. And Jesus begins to couch his ministry in terms of the Passover. He takes that ancient expression of Israel's identity and says, at one point for you, this night was about a past event. But I tell you now, this night is about something that's unfolding. He gives them bread and wine, tells them that it's about participating in his life when they receive these elements. He becomes the new offering, the new way of freedom through the waters of death and the waters of the sea to new life. This night he manifests his authority for the disciples in a shocking surprising sort of a way. Jesus kneels before them with a towel wrapped around his waist, with a basin of water, and performs the most menial task imaginable. He washes their feet. It's so base and it's so disgusting that Peter flatly refuses to participate until Jesus pushes him a little further to recognize where his authority comes from, how his authority is expressed. And it's about service. It's about humility. It's about embracing the most menial tasks in the name of love and service of one another. Friends, this night marks the Lord of love offering himself in one of the most menial, base ways imaginable. His command is that we follow suit, that we embrace his new commandment. But it's not about returning the favor. It's not about simply acknowledging what God has done and giving something back to God. It's about embracing the nature of discipleship. It's about serving one another and becoming the kind of community that can lay claim to that service, that can live that service, and make it our own. Friends, this night's not about becoming clean. This night's about becoming willing to serve one another as Christ has served us.